Jo from stampingjo.com, and welcome to week 4 of the October Stamping 411. So this is the last card I'm going to show you with Painted Harvest this month, and I kept the cutest one for last, so check that out. See these little guys? They are so sweet and so easy to make. So let's get started. So for this card, I used 5 pieces of cardstock. This one's designer series paper, so cardstock and designer series paper. We have garden green in 5.5 by 8.5. I have another one here that's 3.5 by 4 3/4. Cherry cobbler is 4 by 5 1/4. Very vanilla in 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then our wood textures designer series paper 2 by 5 1/4. So we're going to start by folding our cardstock, just matching our corners, and then we're going to use the bone folder to just create that crease. I'm going to take my designer series paper and just glue it to the bottom of my cherry cobbler cardstock. And I'm just using snail for that. Next, we're going to take our copper trim, and you're going to want about 8 inches of length for it. And we're just going to place it at where these two meet, okay? And then just adhere it to the very back of your layer. So we're just going to bring it here. I'm using my tear and tape for that. So we're just going to put it on one side, and then you want to make sure it's straight for the other side. So bring it through, go to the back side, and just add more tear and tape. So once you have that done, we can actually just adhere it right to the back of our card. And then we're going to get to play with the most fun part. So I decided to use Very Vanilla on this card just because it was a little bit more earthy looking that way instead of our normal Whisper White. And so we're starting with this layer. You're going to want some scrap paper just so that you can put, see how there's like an actual line here? So you want to have a scrap paper so you can create that line. For this, it's kind of handy to have our grid paper as the background because I'm just lining up the bottom of my cardstock. Then I'm going to take my scrap paper and line it up from one side to the other so that I know that it's straight. So do we have enough there? Let's see, about there is good. And we're going to take our smaller of the 2 flowers in Cajun Craze. And the first one, I'm just going to stamp off and then stamp it on. And then the second one, we're going to do the same thing, but go full force. Okay, so we're going to do 2 of those. I can actually just do it on here. Look at that, my paper moved, but that'll be okay. If you wanted to make sure that your paper didn't move, you could always use a Post-it note, but this works just as well. So I just happen to have it in my stamping room, so I thought I would use that. So line yourself back up. We're going to take the middle, and this is going to be the face of our character. Okay, so we're just going to stamp it a few times. So I'm just going to take my basic black marker. Our markers have 2 tips, so there's the brush tip, and then on the other side it has the writing tip. And I'm just going to hand draw the eyes and the little nose. And this just kind of makes it come together. See how cute that is? So for this step, we're going to take our leaf stamp and use garden green ink. And we can just start stamping kind of some leaves around. You can use different shades, go in between your little guys, like that. And then I'm just going to take a little wedge of one of our stamping sponges and just add a little bit of ink onto it. I always like to tap it off a little bit because it's going to have like strong lines otherwise. And we're just going to fill in some of that empty space. So we don't want to get too close to our little guys. So I'm actually going to take back that scrap paper and just do it the opposite side so that I can get the sponging closer to them. but yet not on them. Don't you think that's so cute? Look at them. They're so adorable. I don't know if they're like hedgehogs, or I guess they're hedgehogs. They are so cute. So next we're going to use our cherry cobbler, and we're using the Your Kindness Means So Much More Than You Will Ever Know stamp. And we're just going to stamp that above, about here to the right, but above our little guys, like that. And then all we have to do is adhere that to our garden green. So for that, I'm just going to use my snail. And lastly, I just used some dimensionals onto this layer here to pop it up off the card and to complete it. And isn't this card just the sweetest? And it really goes to show you just how much you can do with that Painted Harvest stamp set. I could just continue to make cards week after week and have so much variety. So let's get that on right about there. So there you go. What do you think? Isn't that the cutest card? So thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you very soon. Have a good day. Bye.